This podcast covers real crimes and may include descriptions of violence, disturbing details, or sensitive subject matter. Listener discretion is advised. Boarding a local train for a short journey is something many of us do on a daily or weekly basis, sometimes multiple times per week, never thinking that this simple act could end with horrific consequences. This episode covers the horrific unsolved murder of Deborah Linsley. Bromley is a large town in south east London bordering Kent and Surrey. Considered a reasonably safe and desirable area to live, it's known for its green spaces, good transport links, and a mix of both busier and quiet residential areas. 26-year-old Deborah Linsley lived and worked in Edinburgh as a hotel manager. She had been visiting her parents and brother Gordon ahead of his upcoming wedding and also attending a course for work. On March 23rd, 1988, 26-year-old Deborah Linsley was due to travel back to Edinburgh. It is thought that she had lunch with her brother before she boarded the busy 2:16 Orpington to Victoria train at Pettswood, a desirable area of Bromley, and sat in a closed carriage. For those that don't know, a closed carriage is an old-fashioned type train carriage like the ones on the Hogwarts Express in Harry Potter, with seats up for up to 6 passengers who sit adjacent to each other. The journey would have taken her around 6 minutes. Unfortunately, a fateful encounter with someone on that train meant Deborah would never make her destination. During the short journey, Deborah was stabbed multiple times. Her body was found in the train carriage by British Rail staff. British Rail had been phasing out the closed carriages before Deborah's murder, and within a week, they reduced the number of them on off-peak rail services to minimise the number of passengers being isolated. There were around 70 people on the train that day. However, there were no witnesses to Deborah's murder. A French woman travelling on the train told police that she heard screaming on board after the train left Brixton in South London. Deborah fought and injured her attacker, leaving his blood behind at the scene. Police appealed for information regarding 4 identified men. One described as a scruffy man with dirty blonde hair who alighted from the train at Peng East, a short, stocky man seen jumping from the train at Victoria, a man seen leaving a compartment of the train at Peng East before reboarding, and a man seen staring at women boarding the train at Orpington. The 1988 police investigation took 1,200 witness statements, while 650 individuals were questioned and ruled out. The carriage was covered in blood, including that of her killer, and in 2002 the case was reopened in the hope that DNA left at the scene by the killer could reveal their identity. However, this again led nowhere. The senior investigating officer at the time described Deborah's murder as savage and brutal, and doubted it was the killer's first violent offence. Police have a full DNA profile of the killer, but strangely, he is not on the DNA database. The murder weapon, thought to be a knife between 5 to 7.5 inches long, has never been recovered. In 2013, a £20,000 reward was offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the killer. Deborah's dad, Arthur Linsley, previously stated, "There must be a partner, relative, or friend out there who knows of someone who returned home with an unexplained injury, and we are appealing for that person or persons to come forward." In 2018, Deborah's dad, Arthur, said, "My daughter was murdered 30 years ago. and despite the DNA profile of the suspect being available, the person responsible has still not been found. I appealed in 2013 for those who had suspicions about a partner, friend or relative to please come forward, and I renew that appeal now on this anniversary of Debbie's death. Arthur Linsley campaigned for over 30 years for justice for his daughter, but sadly he died in 2023, going to the grave never knowing who killed his daughter. Deborah's mum had passed away several years before. This is one of the most bizarre, unsolved crimes in British history. A young woman on a busy, very short train journey in the middle of the day, brutally stabbed multiple times, and yet the killer has never been caught despite leaving a full DNA profile. This means that despite the level of violence used and the audacity of the killer to strike on a busy train, police have never collected his DNA for any other offence. Someone must know who killed Deborah Linsley on that day in March 1988.